Hello and welcome to the Celtic View Podcast, the official and more recently slightly sporadic podcast of Celtic Football Club. I'm Joe Donnelly, reporter within the club's multimedia team, and I'm joined today by the Hoops number 42, our deputy skipper, and a man who seems to play around 1 million games on average per year. It's Callum McGregor. Thanks very much for joining us, Callum.
How you doing, Joe?
Not too bad, thanks. It's been a while since we've recorded a podcast for a number of reasons, not least because of the upheaval which is going on in the world at the moment and what the last year's brought upon us, which feels like a good place to start this conversation. It's been an unusual year, I think, for everybody, in football and beyond. From a footballing perspective at Celtic, there have been some real highs, there have been some lows. We've made some more history. There's been kind of disappointment on the league side of things. Speaking from your perspective, Cal, how do you reflect on the season to this point?
Yeah, like you said, it's obviously been a strange campaign. Everything going on in the world, like you said, sort of puts football into perspective. But I've spoke about this before, that with everything that's going on, we're still judged on the sort of same standards that we set all the time. And for us guys, that's the way we want to be judged. We want to always try and achieve the highest level possible. And like you said, there's been some really good moments, and there's been some not so good moments either. So, like you said, it's a kind of mixed bag. Obviously the one sort of standout moment of that is going and clinching the quadruple treble, and a brilliant achievement for the club, with the players, the staff, everybody that was involved, to cap off a real sort of consistently really good period for the club. So I think we have to start with that in terms of the real positive side of it, and something that everyone's really proud of.
Yeah, you mentioned the quadruple treble. Obviously, that's, like we say, that's again more history from this team, which has been so successful over the last decade. You take the quadruple treble, even for yourself in terms of your involvement with Scotland. You've helped Scotland qualify for a national tournament for the first time in, I say, a decade, a generation. It's more than one generation. Real highs, and then of course, perhaps the standings in the league a little bit disappointing this season. How do you balance those highs for club and country against maybe some of the more disappointing moments this season?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. Like you said, in football, it's always the same. It's the highs are really high and the lows are really low. So it's trying to just get a balance where when you achieve something really great, then you don't get too ahead of yourself, you don't get too excited. You come back into work the next day and you hit the reset button, and I believe that's why we've been so good, because that consistency is always there, good, bad or indifferent. We sort of trust the process, we trust the way that we work, and that 9 times out of 10 will deliver success, and that's the way it's been. So like you said, some really good moments, some really highs, and especially like you said about qualifying for a major tournament for Scotland, something that's been on the players' shoulders for a long time, and to finally get that monkey off your back, then it feels great. But again, then when you get to March, the World Cup qualifiers start again, and you start for zero, so you have to go and achieve again, and that's the sort of the be all and end all in football, is you have to keep going. You're judged on your next game, you're judged on your last game, so like I said, you have to be consistently on it all the time. And I try and apply that to the dark days as well. When things don't go so well, then you have to try and, obviously you take the disappointment, it hurts, but the next day or the following day, then you have to get back on the horse and go again, and that's the way that I try and deal with things. The next day is always an opportunity to get better as a person and as a player.
Yeah. It's been a tough year for the fans for a number of reasons, like we say, even beyond football. Given that I work for the club, I've been fortunate enough to get to some of the games, obviously closed doors and from a working capacity. But I think, as a fan myself, I think that, I know we've spoken about how not having fans in stadiums is potentially affected, the buzz or the intensity on the pitch. But I think the other side of that as well is, of course, that fans haven't had the chance to even express themselves in disappointment. I think that maybe that's possibly amplified some of the grievance among the fans. I think that's probably fair to say. As players, what do you guys think about that? Because obviously I know that we've spoken loads in the media about how it could have an impact on you guys on the pitch, but likewise, it's perhaps made things that little bit more disappointing for fans. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and everyone recognises that. Everybody at the club recognises that in terms of, it's people's livelihoods. It's people coming to the game twice a week, or when the home games come around, they have their season books, they have their sort of football family around them, and they love to be at the games, and it brings everyone together, like you said, and even in the good moments, and even more so in the bad moments when people can get around each other. They feel that sense of togetherness, the sense of community that Celtic brings, and obviously it must be so difficult for the fans as well to get their heads around that. And like you said, just the obvious bit of that is that the players will feed off the fans, and the fans will feed off the players actually in game. Like I said, we have to bring that sense of togetherness together again, and everybody in that community and the cause that we all play for here at Celtic. So hopefully, maybe come the end of the season or beyond that, starting next season, then we can get everyone back together. We can get that real unity together and go and attack the season ahead.
Yeah, I mean, because again, speaking from a fan's perspective, it has been difficult at times through disappointment. That's part of being a football fan. But it's almost easy to forget that, first and foremost, you guys are the most front-facing people at this club. You guys don't ever go out to lose. I know that sounds like a really obvious statement, but you guys must be feeling it right at the front of everything as well.
Absolutely. It's when you're so used to success, like a lot of this group are, then to deal with the down moments are even tougher as well. And then I touch on not having the fans there to bounce off and have that comfort as well. Then it affects the players as well. And like I said, it's difficult to deal with. But I think we have to try and learn. This is a real chance for the players to learn and everybody at the club to learn and be better for it. Like I said, when we get back together, hopefully next season, then we reevaluate our objectives and we go again. So, like I said, we have to try and use it as a learning curve.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you've spoken in the media about, you've learned new things about yourself, about your place in the team, your teammates in this time, arguably, more so when it's been successful versus maybe slightly less successful this season. How have you seen your role evolve in the team this year then?
Yeah, I think there's been more responsibility placed on myself as well. And, it's something that when you're in the team, you want to take responsibility. You want to try and help as many of your teammates as you can. And like I said, it's probably been more so than ever that's happened. But like I say, I just keep trying to learn and keep trying to grow as a player and keep trying to push and get better. And ultimately, I do that with performances on the pitch and training every single day and trying to strive to be better all the time. So, that's a challenge for me to keep trying to push and get better and carry that responsibility as well.
Yeah, I want to speak briefly about Neil Lennon, who obviously resigned last week as manager. I know that you worked with Neil way back when he was in charge of the reserves. He would have played his part in the decision which was made to send you down south for that season to get a bit more kind of first team experience. And then I know it was Ronnie Dyler that gave you your opportunity in the first team, but then you've had a close relationship with Neil when he's come back in 2019. It's a man who's played quite a significant role in your career development in one way or another. Absolutely.
You just touched on it perfectly there that, we made the decision to go on loan the first time around, and, I've pretty much never looked back since, and that was a great decision as well, because the team at the time were in Champions League. They were qualifying out of the group and some real top midfielders there. So, I probably had maybe a season to nearly close to 2 seasons in terms of training with these guys and trying to get close and learning from them as well, which was the best in the country at the time. So you enjoy that experience, but just at the time the team were doing so well, so you couldn't really force your way in, and perhaps probably wasn't ready at that time either anyway. So with hindsight looking back, then it was definitely the right decision to go on loan. And again, my time at Notts County was so invaluable in terms of learning experience, playing first team football. It was really invaluable. So like you said, and then when I came back, Ronnie gave me my chance and sort of building for 2 years there, and then obviously under Brendan again progressed. And when Neil came back again the second time, then we had a real close relationship as well. So he's been somebody who has been brilliant for the club in terms of the success that he's given the club, a real good servant to the club as well. And hopefully everybody remembers his achievements really fondly. I know the disappointment of this season will still be lurking in everybody's mind, and it is disappointment. We have to carry the can for that, and obviously the manager does as well. But hopefully, in a short time to come, everybody will remember the good that the gaffer did here, and like I said, remember it fondly.
Yeah. And again, like we say, it was Ronnie that gave you a chance in the first team. Same applied to likes of Kieran Tierney years gone by. It was Neil that gave James his chance back in 2010. And then last week, Stephen Welsh was talking about, he was singing Neil Lennon's praises for doing the exact same for him, only in the kind of newer generation. And I suppose that speaks to the kind of DNA, for want of a better term, of the club, that you're giving the young guys a chance, bringing them through the youth academy, and then giving them the stage. It was nice to see Stephen Welsh recognise that in the modern kind of era as well.
Absolutely. I think that's one thing for this club. It's absolutely vital for the success of this club that we keep producing young talents that can make the step into the first team, and we've been quite lucky in terms of, in recent history, we've had quite a lot make that jump. And like I said, I think it's vital because the finances in football these days, it's virtually impossible to go and buy a team of international players. So you have to trust the youth setup, invest in it properly, give them the time to come in, make mistakes, grow as players, grow as people. And then when they get to that stage, they're ready to go on and take that into the first team on a long-term basis. So, it's first of all, you have to show the right attitude for the young players to get through. And then if you do that and you work hard and you apply yourself properly in training, then, like you said, it's part of the DNA of the club to give the young players a chance. And I think that will stand the club in really good stead in years to come.
Mm-hmm. And I know that one of the things that, you've spoken about it recently in interviews about playing game to game. It's something which you guys have said throughout the success of the last 10 years. Do you think, again, against the context of this season, that playing game to game now until the end of the season is arguably even more important, just to keep that momentum going, to keep the spirits high, and as you say, getting to the stage where you can then start to look to the future again?
Absolutely. I think, like you said, it's even more important that we try to regroup, we go again, we look at every game as an opportunity to get better, to get more organised, to get back to winning games on a consistent basis. And then most importantly, we're playing for pride. So at Celtic, you have to win every game, and that's what we have to get back to. We have to get back to that real winning mentality, that ruthless mentality, that we go into games fully prepared, understanding our roles within the team, putting that all together. And then, like I said, you're judged on results on a Saturday, so we have to get results. And this period is now, between now and the end of the season, it's about building towards the start of next season, so we have a real good base for the next 8 to 10 weeks, whatever it is that we've got left. And we really put our foot to the floor and continue to get better. Yeah.
And of course, the next game in turn is on Sunday against Dundee United, who have been out of the top league for a few seasons until this year. Last game was 3-0 last year, and then the last time at Tannadice was a bit tighter, 1-0, kind of go in the last 10 minutes. What do you expect from the opponents on Sunday?
Yeah, a really tough game. I think the two games have been really tough against them. So we'll need to be at our best to get something. Like you said, up there, traditionally is always a tough game anyway. The pitch is a little bit tighter. They pressed really well in the first game against us up there, and sort of gave us a little bit of a problem. Like you said, we had to wait till late on to get the goal for Albion. So we expect more of the same. Like I said, we'll have to be fully prepared for the game, and when the game comes, then we'll have to be bang at it to get a result.
Thanks very much for joining us, Cal, and all the very best on Sunday.
Cheers, Joe. Thank you.